In April, the deadliest part of the mountain showed its fury once again. 3 Sherpas lost their lives, reminding us of the ever-changing and risky ice and rock formations in the Khumbu Icefall. Huge blocks of ice, called seracs, hang dangerously above, warning climbers to be careful and avoid going beneath them. Despite the dangers, many climbers are drawn to the icefall because of the stories of triumph and tragedy associated with it. If climbers want to reach the summit from the south side, they have to cross the icefall. It's a risky path, but most climbers see it as the best choice. They have to get used to the high altitude of the mountain before making their final ascent, so they have to go through the icefall multiple times. Sherpas, who have a lot of experience, often cross this dangerous area more than 30 times during the season. Getting used to the high altitude, called acclimatization, is important for climbers. They have to climb to specific altitudes, usually the established camps, and spend time there before going back down to the base camp for rest. This gradual exposure to higher altitudes helps their bodies adjust to lower oxygen levels and makes them stronger. But it also means spending more time on the mountain and crossing dangerous areas like the icefall again and again. After the tragic events in 2014, steps were taken to reduce the risks of icefall. The route was changed, moving it closer to the center to avoid known dangers. However, even with these precautions, icefall is still a big challenge that demands caution and careful navigation. Away from the dangerous edges where falling ice can hurt climbers, there's a safer part inside the icefall. Climbers feel more secure here but can't completely eliminate the risk of avalanches, no matter how hard they try. On April 12, 2023, while the towering peaks were still covered in darkness, 3 experienced Sherpas began their journey through the icefall. Lakparita Sherpa, Pimba Tenshing Sherpa, and Achiri Sherpa, who were very familiar with the Himalayas, had their headlamps on to light up the snowy path. They were determined to go through the icefall when it was coldest, just before sunrise, taking advantage of nature's conditions. These Sherpas were important members of a team of 25 people from Nepal. Their crucial job was to secure ropes between Camp 2, which is at a height of 6,400 meters, and the summit of Mount Everest, which is an astonishing 8,849 meters high. Their mission was crucial, because without the ropes at high altitudes, reaching the top of Everest would be impossible. As they crossed the dangerous icefall, time passed and the sun started to rise, shining its beautiful light on the rugged terrain. They reached a risky part called the football field, which is at an altitude of 5,700 meters. This section in the middle of the icefall put them at risk of falling seracs, huge blocks of ice hanging dangerously above. Around 9:30 a.m., reports started coming in about an accident. There were different accounts and unanswered questions, adding to the confusion. Uncertainty filled the mountain, and we were left searching for answers in the midst of chaos. After the terrible accident, Garrett MADISON, an experienced leader from MADISON Mountaineering, shared information about the catastrophic events that occurred in the dangerous Khumbu Icefall. According to MADISON's Sherpa team, who witnessed the tragedy, a hollow part of the glacier collapsed, causing the ice around it to shake and crumble. The next day, a horrifying video surfaced, showing an avalanche caused by a collapsing serac on the west shoulder. It's unclear whether this event directly led to the accident or if it happened afterward, but the footage serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers that exist at the unforgiving heights of Everest. As news of the tragedy spread, rescue operations were swiftly launched on the ground. Search teams bravely faced treacherous conditions to find the fallen climbers. Aerial searches were also conducted, scanning the vast expanse of snow and ice for any sign of life. However, worsening weather and the risk of more avalanches forced a heartbreaking decision to call off the rescue operations. The dangers were too great and the chances of success too slim, leaving the fate of the 3 climbers hanging precariously. Reports suggested that the climbers had likely fallen around 50 meters into a deep crevice, swallowed by the unforgiving grip of snow and ice. Even if they miraculously survived, the treacherous circumstances made any hope of rescue almost impossible. The heartbreaking reality sank in, casting a somber mood over the mountain as mountaineers and their families grappled with grief. In the aftermath of this tragic incident, expeditions on Mount Everest naturally slowed down, allowing time for reflection and mourning. The loss of the 3 Sherpas deeply affected the mountaineering community, serving as a reminder of the immense risks involved in these daring endeavors. Yet even amidst the sorrow, life on Everest continued. Assessments of the icefall were conducted, and the resilient ice doctors, skilled guides responsible for navigating the dangerous crevices, diligently worked to find a new path through this perilous terrain. As the epic adventure unfolded, it became clear that this year's climb would be no ordinary feat. Lots of adventurous people wanted to climb Everest. So a new group of brave Sherpas who were used to high altitudes came forward. They fearlessly climbed the mountain to set up ropes for others to follow. People were really excited about this huge task. Even after taking a break for a few weeks, the climbers' determination and spirit came back stronger than ever. One of these brave climbers was Jonathan Sugarman, a retired doctor from Seattle. He loved climbing when he was younger, but stopped because it was dangerous. However, when he turned 50, he went on a trip to Kilimanjaro and fell in love with climbing again. In 2016, while climbing Cho Oyu, the 6th tallest peak in the world, he faced a tough challenge: altitude sickness. But Jonathan didn't give up on his dream. He was determined to overcome the difficulties of climbing at high altitudes. He got help from a fitness training company called Uphill Athlete, which specializes in endurance training for high elevations. With their guidance, Jonathan trained hard and successfully climbed Aconcagua in Argentina, Denali in Alaska, and Cotopaxi in Ecuador over the next few years. Each climb brought him closer to his ultimate goal, Everest in 2023. When the time came for his daring expedition, Jonathan went on a special trip to the sacred mountain. He joined a group called International Mountain Guides based in Washington. They knew it was important to spend a month and a half getting used to the high altitude. Every moment spent adjusting to the tough conditions brought Jonathan closer to achieving his dream. He and his team carefully watched the weather, waiting for the right moment in late May or June to begin their climb. Jonathan was an experienced climber who had formed strong connections with his guides and the Sherpas over 3 years of climbing. When he arrived at the base camp, he brought a plastic trumpet to play cheerful tunes and boost the morale of his fellow climbers. Jonathan's lively and outgoing personality brought joy to the icy wilderness. The team wasted no time getting familiar with the challenging Himalayan terrain. They started by conquering nearby peaks to acclimate themselves. However, the allure of Everest was too strong to resist. In late April, they embarked on a difficult early morning trek through the dangerous Khumbu Icefall, where 3 Sherpas had tragically lost their lives just weeks before. Despite the risks, the determined climbers pushed forward, aiming to reach Camp 2, then Camp 3, before descending back to base camp. It was a routine acclimatization trip that had been done many times on Everest. But fate had different plans. At around 21,300 feet, tragedy struck Jonathan. He suddenly fell victim to a severe sickness caused by the altitude. His condition deteriorated rapidly. The details of his struggle during the climb to Camp 2 remain unknown, but the relentless grip of altitude sickness was overwhelming. Sadly, Jonathan passed away on May 1, 2023, leaving a void in the hearts of those who knew him. Jonathan's daughter shared that her father was a steadfast voice in every climbing party, offering guidance not just about health but life itself. The climbing community paid tribute to him and offered their support, showing the impact he had on those around him. But we need to face the sad truth that affected this year's Mount Everest expedition. A huge number of 463 permits were given out, which is the highest ever. This means that the risks were greater than before. Unfortunately, more people lost their lives on the mountain, which is a very heartbreaking and serious matter. It has cast a gloomy shadow over the hopeful news about good weather conditions.